Classes. A 500-person lecture hall can be quite daunting. The professor doesn't know you, and you know no one else around you. There are tons of distractions in class to deal with, and it may be very difficult to follow the professor's lecture. The teaching style is also quite different. Where before you were taught, that is, the teacher gave you the information they wanted you to learn, now you must learn. That means you must disseminate the information you're giving, sifting through it to determine what's important and what can be thrown away. It can be a very tedious or frustrating task if you're unsure how to sift through the massive quantity of information. Assignments are more important, but fewer and farther in between. Whether it's writing papers or taking tests, there are often very few official assignments in a semester. It's not uncommon in your first class to have only 1 or 2 papers, a midterm, and a final. While this may sound like nirvana, a chance to slack off and do minimal work, it can be a setup for failure. With so few papers, you have few chances to get things right, and with only 2 tests, each of which may contain thousands of pages worth of material and hundreds of hours of lectures, should you fall behind early or try to cram like you did in high school, you could be in for a terrible disaster. Here it becomes especially important to keep up with the material or fall very easily far behind. You could have chapter upon chapter of reading to do a night, but no quizzes or checks to help you or force you to stay on track. There are also no warnings that a paper is coming or a test is desperately close on the horizon. The professor may not even mention a midterm is coming up. One day you may show up for class and your worst nightmare has been realized. It's midterm day, you haven't begun to do your reading, didn't realize the test was today, and haven't even begun to prepare. Not only are assignments fewer and farther in between, but they offer a very high degree of freedom and are their own mini traps. You may have to write a 20-page paper in English on a novel you just read, but you're not given a specific topic, or structure, or format to use for the paper. You have no idea what the professor would want, how to organize the paper, or what are acceptable and unacceptable topics. There's so little structure in the assignment itself, and it's easy to get stuck and not know where to begin. Tests are very similar too. There can be so much material to study you have no idea where to begin or how to organize it all. The solution here is to keep from falling behind, understand what you're not understanding, and seek help and guidance before it's too late. The best way to do this is a systematic approach. Knowing what you'll do when keeps you from falling behind and without having to push yourself to get it done. Academic support. While we'd like to believe that we did things totally on our own in high school, this isn't exactly the case. If we started to fall behind, chances are someone noticed and someone cared. A teacher would say something, a guidance counselor, someone somewhere up or down the line would likely catch you before you completely bombed or fell between the cracks. Not so in college. There's a complete lack of support. In high school, your teachers knew immediately if there were problems, kept you from falling behind, and helped you keep on track. Your parents were also there to provide support and structure. Friends helped with support too if you got in trouble as well. In college, with very few academic checks in place, it's easy to bomb an entire semester before you even know it. College can feel very daunting because you can feel all alone or without any of the support that you need. Competing demands. In college, it's almost impossible to keep yourself from being pulled in 1,000 directions. Even if you wanted to lock yourself in a room and focus solely on your studies, good luck. You may have roommates or friends, and you still have to leave your room to eat. Distractions are everywhere and unavoidable. There are clubs to join, sports to participate in. There are concerts on the weekend, guest lecturers, sorority and fraternities to join, movies to watch, and fairs to attend. Everywhere around you there's something designed to grab your attention and pull you off task. It's as if you're at the county fair and each carny's trying to get you on his ride, or game, or a show. Learning how to beat this environment and stay on task takes skills far and above what you've likely learned in high school. Here it's not just say no to drugs, but say no to 1,000 things around you, select a few to say yes to, and know how to budget your time to still get your schoolwork done. Friends. Your friends were your own personal support network in high school. Chances are they knew you since childhood and accepted your quirks. They'd support you no matter what, and they'd be there to lend a hand. They'd sympathize during your struggles and help motivate you to stay on task. And they'd understand you, understand your needs, and what you're going through. They wouldn't be judgmental. They'd accept you just the way you are. It'd be nice if these friends were still with us in college, but instead we're faced with making new friends. Now this can be an exciting and fun time, but there are huge pitfalls as well. You must choose your friends carefully. People will also be more judgmental, they're less accepting of your quirks, or your inability to read social cues. and they can be cruel. College students are much quicker to cut you off as a friend if they feel offended. They haven't known you for years and can always move on to the next friend. So now you're surrounded by hundreds or thousands of new faces, but it's hard to have that group of friends to support you. Conclusion. Going from high school to college can be a daunting challenge. You must overcome chaos, focus on the task at hand, and develop your own support network. Distractions are around every turn, and classes can be large and cold. Without structure, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and quickly fall behind. But you have an advantage. You're listening to this audiobook and planning ahead. You're figuring out what strategies will be needed to succeed in school. Follow the tips and strategies in this book and you will succeed.